How's it? Today's May 11th, Monday. Did some block power snatches today. Kind of off, but I did learn some things about lifting off the blocks. And that carried over a lot to the pulls that I did. And then I was experiencing some rotator cuff issues today, like tightness in both of them. So instead of doing the weighted pull-ups, I just did 10 sets of 5 with nice controlled pull-ups. So last week, if I recall correctly, when I was doing my snatches, I started feeling really sick, and then I ended up not getting um, to 175 like I wanted to. So this week was supposed to be me doing 175 off the blocks. Steve was like, "Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of an issue," and I agree. Except my technique is just not super consistent off of the blocks. And I mean, it happened again today. I failed on my first set at 170, so I decided to stick at 170 for the entirety of the workout, or at least the top sets for the workout. I think I'm 2 out here. Yeah, so this is 155 and then 170 after this. So a thing that Steve noticed is that I'm starting a little bit too far over the bar, so that forces me to push my hips forward as I stand up, and I'm not using as much of my legs. And like that's something I noticed a lot. And before I even talked to him, he called me in the middle of the workout to make sure that everything was going better. Um, Before he even called me, I figured it out, and um, I tried my best to make it better in the next couple ones. So you can see that I'm not really using my legs to push the weights. I'm kind of just using my position on my hips and the space I create there. I was a little bit better than the first rep, and then the third rep is the one I fail on. Take forever, I guess. Yeah, it's super evident there that my hips are just not an opportune spot for me to impart power on the bar. That was significantly better there. I would say it wasn't until the third set that I actually really figured it out. So this is my reattempt of the first set. Still not as good. So on the third set, I was focusing on keeping my chest up a little bit higher so that I was not as far over the bar as far as my shoulders go. And then I was trying my best to push through the floor with my legs. And then that's kind of exactly what Steve was mentioning I should do when he called me. Here's that third set. It's technically my second top set. And the bar goes significantly higher there. Yeah. Even though I looked out of position, again, the bar went higher and I was able to receive it because my legs are pushing for height there. Yeah, it's pretty good. Um, so this is the first set after Steve called me. And I mean, it does look a lot better. And then my final set is I would say probably the best one I've done. But you can see there, I kind of hold on to extension, and I'm able to use my quads as the primary mover for the weight. And again, it feels more effective. Woohoo! It's worth it to note that my wrists from the other day, those floor presses are just really tight. I don't say it's sore, but it's just really tight. And you can see there, I stuck harder to the bar, but I also pushed with my legs and in a better position. Significantly better. And my final snatch of the day. Pretty happy with how that went. So to kind of further that like training mindset, when I moved into pulls, I was focusing on keeping my chest up while not having my shoulders too far over the bar. You can see it there. And then pushing through my legs from that position. At the beginning, it feels a little bit off because I normally don't start with my shoulders that far necessarily behind the bar. Yeah, it's starting to get better. You can see that the height on the bar is a little bit better, and I'm sticking to the bar more than I was before. Worth it to note that in the future, if I start to pull back on my shoulders, I will get placed out of position, like so I get kind of vertical. But if I get any further back, I probably could go a little bit further back, but too far back on that upward pull is just less than ideal because while it might put a little bit more height on the bar, it doesn't necessarily make it easier because I'm so far out of position, as far away from the vertical, you know. So I'm just doing my best to push up and pull with my shoulders and my arms up and not necessarily back. Then I do one more here, final set. One of the higher ones there. I think it's a good amount of work that I put in for the pulls because in the past I didn't know how to do the pull, so just like doing it incorrectly doesn't help as far as technique wise. It'll help build strength, but building strength with the correct technique is the best way to get better. So I think that that's pretty important. It'd be nice to be doing pulls with 115 or so because that's my goal weight, right? Um, so I moved into some snatch push presses here with an overhead squat. These push presses are like inconsequential, but the overhead squat's very important because I need to be able to reach this range of motion, and so being able to do it with the bar over my head is very important. So some of these felt good, and some of them good as in no pain. They didn't necessarily feel comfortable, but that's that's a whole level up from where I was a couple weeks ago. And some of them did have a little bit of discomfort, but I'm pretty happy with how these feel. That one was not a happy one. The one before this was felt a little bit better. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I did those pull-ups, just 10 sets of 5, real controlled, try to pull as high as I can with the eccentric on the 5th rep. So it's basically all the way down, all the way up. What you don't see is that my feet are basically touching the ground. And then I did some ab wheels. This is the first time I did like a real core exercise in quite some time. I know that a couple weeks ago I did some hanging leg raises, but those are typically not a good core building exercise. They're just there because I like to do them, for the looks or whatever. But yeah, this is it. That'll be all for today. Shoot.